I've blown some balloons up for you today, and I've written on them, say no to domestic abuse. Domestic violence kills. And please don't end up like me. I'm actually lucky to be alive, although half my teeth are missing. I'm lucky to be alive. My journey with domestic abuse started when I was a little girl, and I watched my daddy hit my mum. My mum had black eyes. I watched my mummy get hit by my dad, and my dad, maybe it was drink, but he would hit my mum with glass bottles. And I was a little kid watching that, and instead of becoming violent and aggressive myself, I withdrew into myself, and I was a very shy child. Everyone took the mickey out of me for not speaking. I was afraid to talk. Now, you mustn't be afraid to talk, but when you're a child, your role models are your parents. And if your parents are fighting, shouting and hitting each other maybe, then you are watching that and you are growing up in that environment. And I find that young boys grow up to be violent like their violent father, and girls are more likely to take drugs, be promiscuous, and go into themselves and self-harm. Usually it's a cycle of abuse where the husband, the father that's hitting you, has experienced domestic violence from their parents, and it goes around in a circle and it never stops. I was a very shy, very sad, very lonely little girl. A very disturbed, not mental or mad, but very unhappy child. I grew into an unhappy teenager. I said to my mum, like, leave my dad. She wanted to stay. There was nothing I could do, but I didn't want to see it anymore. So I left and I married my husband. And my husband had problems with anger, and my marriage was a hard struggle, and I had 3 beautiful children, but they watched domestic violence, and my sons grew up under the influence of their father, and I started to get abuse from my children. This is very hard for me to talk about, because when children attack you and hit you because they're very angry, it's embarrassing. When you go to domestic violence groups and you say, no, it's not my partner hitting me, it's not my partner hitting me, it's my children, because they're angry with the life they've got and the life they've had, and mum becomes a punch bag. I've suffered bruises. I've suffered humiliation. I've been called names: pig, dog, cow, slag, slut, bitch, you name it, it's been thrown at me. I've been to groups that don't really help me. I'm 50 now. Well, I'm 50 soon, I hope. I live that long. Through my own protection. Not the doctors, not the hospitals, and certainly not the police. I've had petrol accidentally poured on me. I've had body spray sprayed in my eye. I have been punched on the head, whether it was a joke or someone didn't mean it, it fractured my teeth. I have permanent nerve damage. I have to wear dentures because my teeth were fractured and I've lost them. They weren't decayed, they weren't rotten, they may have been crooked, but they were broken. With the police, they side with the abuser. In every situation I've been in, I've been put in a cell because they've believed my abuser over me. And putting a very depressed, anxious person in a cell with their shoelaces on, well done, Kent Police. I'm very, very cross with the system. I'm very, very alone. And it is not stopping. And it's not just sons, it's not family. It's men in general that think because I'm soft and I'm disfigured that they can call me names and almost rape me and push me about. And you know, I'm too old for that now. And I'm fed up with being treated this way from everybody. I live a solitary life. I have to. I don't want to die. I actually cried on my bed when I got punched on the head. I was alone for days after the event. The police and the ambulance were going to leave me alone when I was concussed. I'd actually wet myself with shock. I was left with permanent nerve damage. A few weeks afterwards, I didn't want to go on anymore. I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to know anybody because nobody's ever helped me. So I carry on, and I may look like a pig, a cow, a bitch, a slag, a whore, but I'm not. The people that abuse me deserve those names, certainly not me.